Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo. As you guys know, I do a lot of videos along with John Hiley. But one thing I want to quickly talk to you about is a quick quote video. What is a quick quote video? It's an engaging 15-second video or less that actually tells a customer how to send you a photo, either by text message or email. And it keeps on selling for you. More importantly, it gives your customer your information along with a call to action. Check it out. For more information about this video, you can actually go to the show notes on the blog podcast 21 on PDR Tooltime, or you can email us pdrtooltime@gmail.com or denttrainer@gmail.com. Thank you.
Say kids, what time is it? PDR Tooltime.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo. I'm here along with Daniel Grom and John Hiley. Vince cannot join us this episode. He's actually...
He's on a secret mission.
He's on a secret mission. Yeah, his anniversary. Happy 16th anniversary to Vince and his wifey. So...
Congratulations.
They're off in the Palm Springs.
Yeah. Vinny, woo!
Hey, yo, Vinny.
Good job. 16 years, man.
So, anyways.
Actually, we should congratulate his wife for putting up with him for that long.
Oh, man.
She's the champ.
Yeah. Well,
I couldn't live with Vinny for 16 days, let alone 16 years. We'd be beating each other up with a Craftsman hammer.
Vinny.
We love Vince.
He is straight out of Long Beach. I was gonna say Compton, but he is from Long Beach.
Straight out of Compton.
He's from Chicago, actually, originally. But anyway, so I just got done doing a 2-month PDR training session back to back.
Marathon.
Yeah.
And you were saying you feel free, huh?
Well, I mean, in a way, don't get me wrong. It's really good to be with guys who make your life and your job a lot easier because they get it, and they get it from the start. And I think I was, I'm pretty much lucky about 90% of the time when I train these guys. It's just, here's the deal. It takes a lot of work to train somebody right. You're not out there playing video games or DVDs like these bad stories you hear that, or you're busy making money for yourself and training these guys on the side. You know what I mean? So that's not how it works. These guys pay you a pretty good amount of money to learn how to do it right. And it takes a lot of effort on your end too, to train them right. So
I'll tell you, Mike, it is definitely mentally taxing. I mean, I've recently trained a couple guys at the same time, and normally I don't train two guys at the same time. But here's what happens. I mean, you literally just bounce back and forth like a ping pong ball. So by the time one guy's done with you, bang, you're back to the next guy, and then back to the next guy, and back to the next guy. I mean, literally, I remember at the end of the day is like basically just feeling my head decompress and like all this hot steam come off my head as I'm like, oh, wow. That was like just a mental trip through the whole day. But, if you're doing it right, it's going to feel like that. If you're training somebody right, you're going to feel mentally taxed at the end of the day because you legitimately care that they understand. Now I'm not talking about the guy who might have trained you, the guy who trained me, who sat behind the desk and came out every now and again and pointed for a little spot on the hood. And then after he told you, hey, push that up, tap that down, he left and then sat down and then came back. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about the person who's over your shoulder pushing you each and every day. It's like you're freaking coaching an athlete, man.
No, yeah, it's another job. I mean, it takes, over the years you get better at teaching too, and you understand what the habits of certain students are like. You got to deal with personalities too, Right. Some guys are like little kids, and some of you guys out there, well, not some, but one person out there knows, who's probably listening to this, exactly what I mean, because he was training with me and the opposite. Because I trained two people at one time, and one was probably one of the best techs I've ever trained, and the other one was the opposite. It was like I told you, I could have trained my son, who was 6 years old at the time, better than the other person. It's just they just sometimes don't get it. And they're like a little kid, so you have to deal with their personality and you have to adapt, and you have to, most of all, build patience.
Right.
Yeah, you're not like Dent Wizard where if they didn't feel like you're cutting it, they would cut them loose.
No, yeah.
Say sorry.
I almost did
not
though
making
in the beginning. I mean, it was just I didn't know if I was going to be able to hang with it, but
Well, and for any of the audience listening out there, I mean, if you're considering going into paintless dent removal, be ready to be really frustrated. And like if you may at some times have to sit down on a panel for an hour and a half before you can see that last little dot, or you can hit that last little dot. And what Mike's talking about there are the guys that sit there for 5 minutes and they throw their tools down and they say, "Oh, I can't see it. I can't do it." The people who do well in this push through that, okay? The people who do well that I train, they are relentless and don't give up until they get that last dot. And I want you guys to imagine this. It's like playing Super Mario Brothers, okay? And if you can't make it past level 1, you can't get to the next level, okay? But sometimes making it past level 1 requires hitting it time after time after time again. But once you get past that first level, the troubleshooting from that level will ride you to the next and to the next and to the next. So if you're a guy who gets on and plays a little video game and throws down the controller and says, just give up, then probably paintless dent removal is not for you.
Yeah, that's what I say. Well, the first foundation, they and you guys can all relate, whether you're a veteran tech or just starting. The first thing that you're learning is technically how to finish, how to hit that center. Well, even when you do a big dent, it comes full circle. What do you end up doing at the end? Finishing, hitting that last little bit. Tapping down, releasing pressure, pinpointing. It all comes back right to the beginning. So if you can't learn the beginning, you're not going to get any further. It's just going to feel like you're going backwards every time, and that's the hardest part.
And the mistakes you make at the beginning will haunt you to the very end.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's true. I said the first pushes are your most important because those come back. You always, if you're high spot and you don't get rid of it, guess what?
Right.
It's right there in your face.
You guys want to hear something I tried the other day? So you guys know Colafria, you can pull a large amount of dents. So I got Nico with me. He's my student from last year, and he was hanging with me for the last couple weeks. So we're out there, and we got this dent on a Dodge fender. Looked perfect for Colafria. Me and Nico, for whatever reason, looked at each other and both said, I wonder if we did the crown work, just a little bit of the crown work first, and then hit it with Colafria, what would it do? Well, on this one, it was a vicious mistake. Because we did a little bit of the crown work first, we pulled it with Colafria, and it did the exact opposite than what you would think. So I actually found myself picking and cleaning on this thing for about an extra hour and a half. But that's how you learn.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? Let's back that up. What do you mean? What happened?
So we had a fender hit that had a real nice round crown on it, right? But it had more dent than crown, okay? So I'm thinking because Colafria, when you pull, that's the stopping point of Colafria is when there's a crown. If you look at all your pulls you make with Colafria, when there's a crown up at the top on the side, that's where the wave's going to be. That's where the stopping point is. And Colafria gives some nice reverse tension to tap that crown out. Beautiful. But I wanted to experiment with it a little bit. And I said I wanted to go ahead and take down a crown that I normally would do a little pulling on first. I wanted to start working that down, softening it up a little bit before I took my Colafria pull, so it didn't have any of that reverse pressure to stop it, essentially. It just didn't work. I mean, it made like John, a weird ripple wave at the top, and it got all like...
I'll never forget what you said, and it makes so much sense. You said that the dent to crown ratio, what the percentage is, and that makes so much sense because I was trying to define, there's sometimes I do tap down the crown and sometimes I don't. What defines that? And I think you nailed it on the head.
Well, yeah, typically because if the crown ratio is heavy, like 70% crown, 30% dent, just releasing the crown is going to probably remove most of the dent, And then if the dent is 70% dent, 30% crown, you're going to have to move that dent to give some reverse pressure on that crown, or you'll kind of jack it up while you're tapping it down.
Yeah. You only
it's
have
just too much tension.
The other thing is not to try to take down the whole crown.
Yeah.
It's tug and pull.
Soften it a little bit, not take it all the way.
You're right. It's tug of war. You got to give a little and take a little.
So you'll like this. I get a call 2 days ago. This old guy calls me as a 58.
Yeah, Daniel, you're breaking up a little bit there, buddy.
I think we lost
and he
dude.
froze. He actually froze.
The weekend at Bernie froze.
He's kind of looking up at the sky, and but anyhow, yeah, I'm sure he'll get back in here eventually. He probably doesn't even hear what we're saying right now.
No.
So make fun of him and stuff like that. So
Here, he's coming.
anyhow,
back on.
I'm sure Daniel will be back on here momentarily.
He's trying
and
to
we'll
come
let
back.
him tell the rest of his story there. But Mike, let me ask you something. What is today's show is going to be about? So I know we're talking shooting the stuff with everybody.
You know what? It's going to be kind of we'll probably figure out the topic, but as we're doing it, it's going to have a little bit of a mix of everything. Obviously, we just talked a little bit about training, just a little bit. I mean, we weren't planning on it, but we ended up talking about training.
I like it when we say it's organic.
It is. It's called the Flow Show. All right.
The Flow Show. It's organic.
Yeah. Well, we want to talk
for you.
We want to talk about some recent tools that I've actually bought and received, and I know Daniel Grom. He's always every week he's got something new. He's anxious to talk about some of the new things. Hold on a second. Let me add Daniel back on.
There he is.
I'm there.
There he is.
Okay.
So we were kind of briefing the audience, Daniel, when you cut out and froze like Weekend at Bernie's again.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't seen that, it's the dead guy that's just frozen there looking up in the sky. Daniel looked just like that. But we were just telling the audience we're going to talk about our new tools that we've gotten, which I haven't gotten many new tools, but I'm going to just kind of roll with the flow, and I got some interesting things to talk about. But Daniel, what were you finishing up on right there before you?
So this guy calls me on. He has a 58 BSA, and he wants to know how I'm taking dents out of motorcycles. And I tell him that it takes years of training to learn how to do cars before you even can start doing motorcycles. And he's not listening to me. He's not getting it. And then I tell him that I sell the tools and things. And he goes, "Oh, you sell the tools? Oh, great. So I can buy them myself and do it myself?" I'm like, "No, you can't." And he would not take no for an answer. And I said, "Go to Ultra, buy the tools, go for it."
Yeah.
I couldn't talk him out of it.
Yeah.
It was funny.
It's so funny when people actually walk up to you and they say, when they see you finish their dent, they say, "It's all about the tools, isn't it?" How many times have you guys heard that? Somebody walk up and actually pat you on the shoulder and say, "Oh, it's all about them tools now, isn't it?" And they look at you like you're going to agree with them. You know what I mean? They give you that, "It's all about the tools, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Like, actually,
Yeah,
man,
you
it's
try.
kind of like, yeah. Like, what do you say, though? You know what I mean? You feel so, like, vain when you're like, "I'm an artist." You know what I mean? You want to, like, rip out your white glove and smack them across their face and say, "I am Picasso, you son of a," you know, and but we don't, you know, we hold back.
I want to say that
Sometimes.
to a plastic surgeon. It's all about them knives, huh?
Yeah.
All
You know
about them
what, though?
scaffolds.
You know what, though? Plastic surgery, just going real quick, because I know you talk about that in paintless dent removal a little bit, Mike, how it's like plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you got to think about this. Plastic surgery, people 20 years from now are going to be looking back like, what the hell were they doing back then? We're at that phase where
I
it's
don't
like,
think we need to wait 20 years. I can say that now, man.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though. They're going to be looking back at the jobs that are done now saying, "Oh, my gosh." We're at a practice point in plastic surgery where people are getting blown
You can
up
pick out
lips.
plastic surgery,
Yeah.
a crowd of people, you know?
Shouldn't even be noticeable, you know?
Well,
but
people are looking like lions and panthers, and I mean,
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff out there.
gosh, and they all look the same. Like, you know, they all look like. Eventually, they all look the same. You know, I don't know why or how it turns out. Like, why does it do that? So, anyways, but
so hopefully our PDR involves just as much as plastic surgery.
So I want to tell you guys, last week when we had our interview, and who did we interview?
Stucky.
No,
Was it
Last
Stucky?
Ryan Hampton.
Hampton. And he said he only used a slide hammer for glue pulling. And that stuck to me. I was like, okay. And he doesn't use a mini lifter. I had to find out why. And I went out and bought that Pull Dog from TDN Tool Carts over in England. They sell it. And I ordered that thing right away.
Hold on, were you already getting into new tools though? Is that what we're doing right now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Crack-a-lacka into it, man.
Hey guys and gals, don't forget to buy a PDR Tooltime t-shirt that really helps us and supports our ongoing podcast. You can visit pdrtooltime.com, go to the store, and buy your t-shirt there. Thanks a lot, guys and gals. We do appreciate you listeners and your support.
And I I was shocked because I ordered it on a Saturday and I got it like on a Tuesday. And the first thing I noticed, I get a nice box, has their logo on the box, and inside the box is a nice pamphlet with information on their company, really nice presentation. And then I get the pull dog and I pull that thing out, and I didn't realize how nicely that slide hammer is made. There's a lot more to it. It's small little details that makes that thing nice. And I happen to have a glue pulling job ahead of me, and so I go, okay, good time to test this thing. And I put it on there, and it has a spring on the back, and you have a tensioner for that spring, and you can tighten that spring. So when you're pulling it, you're hitting that spring, but you can make it bouncy or make it thud, and it pulls way different than my other slide hammers that I have. And I was shocked. I was like, okay, now I get why Hampton was using this thing, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
Now, let me ask you, Daniel. Sorry, Mike. Real quickly, have you ever used a slide hammer with a spring on it? Have you did your own thing? See, I have. I've done my own thing. So I got Anthony Spencer's with a spring on the back of it as one of my slide hammers.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of the tension thing. That is such an awesome idea, and I want our audience to let that sink in. Because the spring that I have on Anthony's, I can't adjust it, but it has like a pulling. Like it doesn't, think about this. Instead of smacking, it actually pulls the tab without having that snap that rips the glue from the panel. So you actually get more pulls, which is kind of like flexing the dent up and down, kind of like when you're pushing it. So I want everybody to envision why the spring's got to be there.
Yeah, you nailed that. And that's the thing I was shocked at. Because normally my slide hammers would rip the tab off. And this did not.
It would shock the tab off before it actually could really pull the dent, you're saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It pulls different. It pulls different than anything else I've ever used.
Well, that's why a heavy slide hammer, that's why you can't use a heavy slide hammer, because it'll just rip the glue away.
Yeah. Yeah. And, well, you said right now, look at all the economic controversy going on. So you can probably pick it up, what'd you say, cheaper?
Yeah, because the dollar is really strong right now in England. I paid $250, and today I could have bought it for $155.
You just looked You just looked it up. Well, I'm getting on right now. I want to get it right now.
Right? Yeah, get it.
That thing looks legit, like nice and detailed.
You look at like the slide hammer part. It's got a nylon bearing inside of it, so it slides really smooth. It's got washers on the other side of it, so when it goes back to the handle side, it's not metal on metal. I mean, there's a lot of little details on the thing, and it's nice. It's very nicely made. It's worth the money, in my opinion.
Good job. All right, well, it's my turn. We'll talk about something. Yeah. I'm going to save the other one for you because you already have something similar. So, John, you can talk about the Finesse fender lip tool because you already have it, but maybe you can actually add to what I'm going to say. I got the fender lip tool. I made a little video on it. I got it and I was like, man, this thing's probably too long. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it into the fenders areas I want. Well, it's a skinny little hook tool looking, and almost looks like a finger reverse, like inside finger, but it's really cool. I mean, it's really thin, really nice, and it gets in right to the edge, and it does not chew up the dent. It's very surprising. It just gets right in there. I've tried a lot of fender lip tools. A lot of them were sometimes too big, or you couldn't get it inside the fender lip really well, whatnot. But this PDR Finesse one is really, really good. I make one. I have one, a special one I ordered custom from Ultra, but you use it more of a sideways angle. But this one comes straight in, like facing forward, and it does really good. I mean, it's really, really does a great job. What do you think, John? What did you think of it?
Well, I'll tell you what. The thing is thin and tempered to the max, so it is a very strong tool. That's thinner than most of the fender tools that I was used to. Prior to, I've got another PDR Finesse fender tool that it has a more dramatic bend to it. Yeah. And definitely recommend that one as well, especially if you want to use it on tanks and stuff like that, like I do. But it has a dramatic deep bend, but this one has more of a sleek profile and is more designed for leverage off of the tire. So I got to give it a thumbs up. I mean, I've definitely used it, but just like all PDR finesse tools, it's just really strong and tempered really, really nice. And speaking of that, we actually, not something that I bought, but I told you guys earlier in the show about Nico coming up to visit me a couple weeks ago. Well, he buys get this, guys, you guys are going to laugh about this because you guys all have these tools. He buys a knockoff set of Ultra, the aluminum graded handle. Mike, you've seen. I sent you a photo of them over. I don't know. They're the handles that come off and snap back on. He buys a knockoff set of these on eBay. It's not made by Ultra, but I'm telling you, they looked identical. Okay, so he's all stoked. He's like, he's got a set of rods and tools, and there was probably 30 pieces of tools there that he paid about $300 for. And so they roll up here, and he's happy. They get shipped to my shop on the day that he gets here. And he's like, well, what do you think about them? Well, the first thing I did was I checked it, and they made the threads a little bit bigger than 5/16 by 18 thread. So you couldn't tap it. You couldn't tap it down. You know what I mean? It wasn't smaller. It was bigger. So it had it to where you had to buy their tips. Okay?
That's a mistake.
Good. Well, it's a mistake, but it's also the people who are buying it are really not going to be the most versed on what tools they should buy. They're trying to buy stuff off of eBay that's a knockoff, So they're going to end up buying tips from these people forever. And number two, I grabbed a 1/2-inch rod, stepped on it, and bent it right in front of him. Just seen the look on his face. I actually kind of felt bad because he was so sad. He's 17 years old, and he's so sad that his tool thing didn't work out, but the long shave tools and all that stuff, I mean, they were absolute junk. I couldn't believe it.
There goes the point where tools could either really, in real life, make you either better or worse.
And that goes full circle to PDR finesse tempering. Guys, here's what the thing that you got to realize. You're paying for that thing to be tempered, and that's an expensive part of the process.
Yeah, well, let me finish my thought, guys, here. So you could be at a job. Let me give you I'm not going to mention any company names or anything like that, but you've got a 1/4-inch tool, and you're inside of a panel. You got a deep ding. Let's just say it's an aluminum panel, okay? And you're pushing on it, and you're just tweaking it. You're really working it. It's not the tool is the right tool for the job. It's the right diameter, but you're really twisting it, and you're twisting it. All of a sudden, snap, it breaks. What happens? That sucker busts right through, pops, and hits the friggin' panel underneath, breaks the paint. Guess what?
You're painting that panel.
You're painting that panel or replacing it, whatever you're doing.
Yep.
Now, if you don't think that tools that make a difference, from the good ones to the weak ones, there's definitely a realistic problem that happened to me back in the day, early days.
That's happened to me 100 times.
Yeah, and you guys have to know what tools are going to do what, and what are you going to rely? What are you going to put your reputation on? And so that's just comes down to my point. You buy cheap, John. I tell this to everybody. You buy cheap, you buy twice, and sometimes you're going to pay a lot more money than twice.
I actually had to have you give a lecture to Nico, if you remember correctly, Mike.
You
actually gave him a little lecture. I told him he was going to be listening in, and him and his dad had this idea that everybody in the dent repair world was just overpricing their tools, and they could just go get them on eBay. Didn't want to listen to me until they got there, and I stepped on him and broke, basically bent one in half right in front of his eyes, and said, "Hey, and that's another thing Mike just said. When you're torquing on hard aluminum, if you got flex in your tool, it's going to be harder to push out. You got two dynamics. Your tool's flexing, and you got to push really hard. So when them two meet each other, you're having a lot of problems, number one. And then Daniel can tell you on tanks, if you got any tool that's got flex on it, you ain't seeing the tip of your tool on a Harley Davidson.
No, it makes all the difference in the world. And that goes for all dent removal. The stiffer your tool is, I think the better results you get in the end. That's why these whale tails that everybody sells, I think, are horrible. When you take and it bends like a big spring, that's not good. When it springs like that, when they're made out of flat material, that does not make a good dent tool. It's when they're forged, and if you've ever had a forged tool in your hand, you guys would be shocked. If our industry got on the ball and started making forged flat tools like whale tails, it would shock everybody. Everybody'd be like, "Oh my God, everything else has been garbage up until this point."
Now you're saying, like, you're definitely saying, John's distracting me. He's pulling out his samurai sword.
No, because I'm pulling out a hand forged ninja sword from freaking Japan right now. So that's it. You see the little marks and the strains through it?
I don't think I'd want to walk in your house, dude. You're like medieval.
Oh no, this is my office. My house is loaded with way more stuff than this.
You wacko.
If we have any Japanese listeners, I wish the Japanese would make us some Japanese forged tools.
Oh, I bet you they do a great job on. They put too much. It'd probably take them 100 years to make a tool though, because they put it so intricate, And
I would pay $1,000 for a good forged tool, man.
Yeah, I know you would. You'd probably put up your house for a freaking good forged tool.
Well, I have a couple, and they're 20 years old. And they're still going.
Daniel, I've thought about like picking up and learning the process, man. Like getting one of them, like old school, not like today's. I mean, like a real hammer. You know what I mean? Like a big forging hammer. Get one of them forging fires and just like put stuff in it, man, and just smash it down to the ground. Watching the steel, I think that'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. Guys, the more that I'm making tools, I love machining. I love machining tools as much as I do, just tweaking things. I don't do the actual CNC and stuff like that. But the little machining that I do, I love it as much as pushing dents.
It's fun.
Yeah. So anyways, we're going to keep going on these tool things, but I've got an idea what I'm doing next for Dent Trainer is I went and bought 10 glue guns from Walmart, the same ones. Okay, and let you guys know which ones I bought was the high-low temperature ones, the white one.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 10 different glue sticks and use an average tab, which to me personally is a Kiko tab. I like the Kiko tab. They pull pretty moderate. And I'm using only one tab, and I'm going to do the 15-second rule. So each tab will have the same glue. And we'll do 15 seconds on tab weld glue, 15 seconds on thing, and we're going to pull it, okay, after 15 seconds.
Right.
So this test is just to see, does the glue really work and make a difference in pull power or set times or whatnot? Because nobody's done a test yet on that. So I want to see what it's going to be like. I want to see how interesting it is. So
I've heard in the grapevine that there have been tests, but they haven't made them public.
Okay. Well,
wonder what is there to hide. There's a conspiracy going on. It's like the Illuminati Dent Society, man. you know, our boy Tom Price is in on it, right? He was in our last episode. He's my boy, man. He's my boy. Don't get me wrong, but he's definitely a Dent Illuminati.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that's the thing, man. It's interesting. Let's see how true the glue is. We know the tabs make a difference.
I think that'll be good.
Let's
test.
see how good the glue is, and what difference does it make. This one I might make public, but I'm not sure. Me and John will have to talk about it, because it really, what we're doing is that we sometimes will put out videos on Dent Trainer first, and they might be up there for a whole year, and then later on we might release one, publicly to show how interesting it is.
You want to know what I did the other day? I took 2 of my glue sticks, and I took a razor blade and I cut it down. I cut the whole stick in
the
half.
Middle. Yeah, I was just thinking that the other day. Yeah,
and I put the 2 together and I put it in the glue gun.
Yeah, that's what I was
awesome.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
and it friggin' works, man. It works.
I know we were talking about, we had tab weld in the purple something, and it was purple weld or something like that. We put, and
I'm surprised nobody's made that yet.
No, I'm sure they should, man. Because I was like, I just need to split that down the middle and make my own combinations. You know
why? Because isn't it sometimes the best when the 2 sticks, like when you got 2 different glues and they meet each other when you're feeding them
that's
through.
Where I got it from.
You got the Raider glue, right? Just silver and black, right? You put those in there, and you got Raider glue.
Where I'm at, my temperature is really cold in the morning. And then around 11 o'clock, it starts heating up really fast, and the shop gets warm. And so sometimes I'll switch out to red, because the temperature is getting warmer. And it's when those 2 glues converge, is when I get some of the best pulls.
Well, do you think, John, and this is an open question since we're on this topic, do you really think glue makes a difference? Obviously, you just said that you switched to glue, but do you? Do you really think?
Mental. It might be all mental. Who knows?
I don't think so. I do know that glue makes a difference. Yeah. I mean, and I want to tell you guys something. There used to be a glue out there, and I have dug to try to find a sliver, a shaving of this glue. And this is one that Bryce Rockhill introduced me to, and it was Harbor Freight wood glue. Okay. It was this amber color, and I'm going to tell you something. Like the first time that Bryce showed me this, he was working at a shop in Indianapolis. I went there, and you couldn't even get them off the panel. You could fully flex the whole panel out until the mini lifter was bowed all the way up, tightened all the way up on a door skin, and it would not come off. At some point, they stopped making it, and I really wish that I would have saved some of it. But to go back to your point, I want to go back on something that I said before. You know, we all learn, we all evolve, and everybody knows that I've used the Ace Hardware clear glue. And the other day, I had a problem with it pulling, and I slapped on some tab weld, and I just seen an immediate difference.
Tab weld is good stuff. That's
sure.
my go-to glue.
It's a little hard to clean off compared to some glues. Like it doesn't heal as well. That's my one annoyance with it. But other than that, that's all that I've been using. It's either that or I'll tell you another killer glue is that purple. It's called like Purple Passion. It's got like a lady on the front of it. That's
the purple.
Plain Jane.
No, yeah, Plain Jane purple. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The top
some
three.
of the whites I didn't like. Some of the other ones I just didn't like, man. I'm going to be honest with you guys out there. But that purple was legit, and tab weld is legit. Them are two great glues.
Yeah, I my favorite ones are the bubble gum, tab weld, and purple. That's what I like. That's what I've been using. That pull really well for me.
Yeah. Now, don't they have like some sort of glue program there, Mike? That's like a subscription.
Daniel Grom knows more about that. I haven't jumped on that, but I am going to. I'm gonna.
Yeah, they do have a subscription, and I had to finally cancel it because I just wasn't using enough of it, man.
At least you get your money's worth.
How much glue were you getting per month?
I started off with two bags a month, and then I lowered to one. And finally, I'm like, I got enough for a year right now. So I finally had to cancel my subscription. And
what did it run you?
What is it, $19 a month?
That's good. Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, Keith already told me something like that, so I'm going to jump on that.
If you're on the Hail Trail or something like that, and you're doing a lot of glue pulling, sure, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
you don't have to think about it; it just comes in the mail, and you're ready.
I could imagine the mess of that on the Hail Trail, though, calling up like, "Hey, Keith, I'm in Iowa this week. Can you send my glue to the Hampton Inn at 442?" And then like, "Oh, I lost that deal. My glue's on the way to Hampton Inn."
That's happened to me.
Send it up to the Days Inn in Knoxville.
That's what happened to me. The guy was like, "Hey, I moved from this place to this place." You know, I was like, "Oh man, this guy's jumping around, man."
What a night. You know what I mean? I guarantee you Keith is probably listening to this, and he's feeling that, man. He's probably like shaking his head saying, "Yeah, my glue's chasing people around the country right now."
Well, knowing Keith, he doesn't deal with any of that. He just, it's all automated. He just switched that order. What I was going to say, okay, going back on the a tool review. Now, Daniel, I've got a couple more though, but Daniel, you just picked up a cordless buffer, dude. How's that working out for you?
Yeah, so I have a local detail supply guy, and he comes in, and he goes, "Hey, I finally got something you've been asking for." And it was a cordless random orbital polisher. And it's like a 5-6 inch pad, but this thing is built like a tank. I mean, it's really well built. It's RBL is who makes it. It was $299. Comes with a battery and a charger, and he says it'll go forever. And I've been using it. It comes with this funky pad though. The pad it's like two pads in one. The center is like a hard orange waffle pad, and then the outside of it, that part's recessed into the black part, and the black part is softer. So you start off. It's kind of good for polishing out scuffs and stuff. So you start off with it flat, and then to finish it off, you bring it up on its edge to finish it out. but this thing's light. The battery's really nicely. It makes a nice little stand, so it stands up by itself, but portable. And like I use the Snap-on little polisher, and I use that first, and then I'm finishing off with this tool. And so I'll give you more of a review of it later after I use it a little bit. But so far, I'm really, really liking it. So if you're out in the field and you care about your finished product, so if you're doing a black car, if you're not doing a random orbital, you're gonna leave halos in the paint. There's just nowhere around it. And
yeah, Daniel, it looks like he just did.
His audio came out, then it came back in really nice, and then he fades out. you gotta love Skype though, man.
You gotta love it, But you mind if I elaborate, Mike, on something that off of what he was saying there with the buffer?
Go for it.
Because I want to tell people that I bought one of them Milwaukee buffers, and they're like a little miniature drill that looks like a little miniature buffer, and they got little 3-inch pads, okay? But it's an actual buffer. It even has a handle on it and everything like that. And I love it. When I got to do something decent, I love it. But if you guys have any tips out there, I mean, literally, when I buff with that thing, I splatter the whole freaking side of the car. Like, I'm chasing around little white dots of compound. I'm not kidding you. I actually got it inside a guy's car. Like, somehow the compound went, like, inside his car and down on his, like, I'm buffing on his lower door, Mike, and it got inside his car down on his door handle where his window goes up and down. I had to clean his dashboard off, man.
No,
it's
well, my tip is that you actually got to put it on your pad or put it on the panel, but then take the pad and really, before you turn it on, you got to really kind of just like soak it in on the pad. Okay. So you got to just definitely add John before when you left Daniel. So what John was saying, hey, how do you stop from getting splatter all over the place? And first of all, you don't put a lot on, and then when you do put it on, you put it on dry, like on the pad, and rub it on the panel, and make sure there's no residue left, and then slowly start buffing your thing, and then work it up to the high speed. So that's what I end up doing.
Right. You want me to start right there, like where I was talking about the mini buffer, and redo that part again, or do you want to just?
We're good. You and I got it. Yeah, we're fine.
Right. Good. So let me ask you something, Daniel, about that buffer specifically, man. Is that like an actual high speed, like a DeWalt buffer, or would that be something that would be more in the category of like a dual action polisher?
It's more of a polisher. It's more of a finish polisher. So it's a random orbital type of polisher. So it's more of a finished type of product. Or
what's the brand name, and where can you get that at?
RBL.
And don't forget to send me you guys' notes.
They have it on Amazon, $2.99. They have a website. You might get it through your local detail supply place. I don't know if you guys have P&S around where you're at or what, but they should carry it.
Okay, so the next thing I got was the hole puncher, the hole straightener, and I really like it. I use it for all kinds of holes, straighten out the holes, and it does a marvelous job. A great job, and it has 3 LEDs on it. I did a little video review on it. That will be coming up as well. I just I don't know how many reviews I'm going to get out before I have to leave next week to Europe, because I've got a commitment with Dent Trainer. I got to put some more videos out there as well. But anyways, giving it back, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. It's very well made. It's 3 bright LEDs on it, and it's very simple to use. And it even straightens out some motorcycle tank holes. Not every hole, because it can kind of make a rim around it a little bit. But other than that, I mean, for 1/2-inch holes, bigger holes than that, it'll work fine. 1/4-inch tiny holes, it works great. So I really like it.
Who sells it, and how do you get it?
I will put that link on there. Unfortunately, I don't have the product in front of me, so I will put it up.
It's Australian though, right?
Yeah, it's from Australia. Yeah, and I apologize, I don't have it right. I just thought top of my head, I thought I'd mention it, but it will be on the show notes on the blog. Don't forget to go to pdrtooltime.com. I think this is show 21. Is this show 21?
I think so, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah, show 21. And you'll see all our links that Daniel mentioned, what I mentioned, and obviously what John mentioned. So check it out.
Yeah. I also want to mention that Ultra's contest, to remind guys, hey, if you got a tool out there, enter it in the contest. He's giving out some big prize money, and it's going to be a great contest, and you're going to get a contract at the end with the Ultra Dent tools. And what's nice is if you've got an idea and you just haven't been able to get it to market, he's gonna take the handoff and market it worldwide. He's got probably the world's largest distributorship, customer base in the world, and you can go worldwide and make some money.
Yeah, hey, and speaking of Dent Trainer, Mike was talking about putting some tutorials up there. Well, I want to go ahead and announce, and this should be on as long as somebody doesn't die or get sick or something like that. We're going to be launching a podcast, a webinar, a live webinar, denttrainer.com, on the 14th. This webinar is going to be hosted by myself and entrepreneur Tom Rubens from the Accountability Factor. And this is going to be 4 very, very important things that you're going to need to know about business. And this dude is amazing. I mean, when you hear him talk about business, he coaches so many. I mean, he's coached people into multi-million-dollar companies. And he's a very, very intelligent guy, good friend of mine, great speaker. And on top of that, we're going to be doing a webinar just about business in Dent Trainer. But on top of that, we're actually going to be launching a podcast that's going to be available for people to listen to on Dent Trainer about specific business things from a guy who I look up to. And so I hope all you Dent Trainer members are ready to really get deep in some great business and some motivational type stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, everybody needs motivational stuff, man, to keep it going.
Yeah.
That's why when you get a new tool, you just can't wait to do dents again. Isn't that kind of funny? It's like when you get a tool, you're like, man, I wish I had a dent right now. I show that dent. I wish it would, man. So I am actually very excited because I'm in this trade. I just want to tell you guys that, and I know you guys are too, but man, I thank God every day that I am able to make a living and support my family, and on top of it, love my job. Actually, I don't even call it a job. Not even call it a job.
Yeah,
all of us guys are in this trade, or we're blessed, man. And I just think that, thank God. You better thank him, man, because I don't know any other job besides, even a doctor makes a lot of money, but look at the stress they have to go over, about what they got to do. They're saving people's lives. They lose lives. They went through school for 12 years and whatnot. They didn't get any sleep. How I know this? I mean, because half of my friends are doctors and they make good money, and but some of them tell me they wish they would have done what I'm doing. So, we don't have that stress, but we do in our own ways. But I'm just very thankful for that, and I'm thankful for all the new tools, and what a great time to be in PDR right now. Look at the advancement and everything that's going on. So I just want to put that out there.
You know the old story, Mike. I was working for a doctor's wife one day and fixed a little ding in her car in about 5 minutes and charged her $125. And she came out and says, well, that's more than what my husband makes. And I said, well, that's why I dropped out of med school.
There you go.
Just use it, guys. Yeah. Use it when you're out there, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I dropped out of med school. Yep. That's so. I mean, we could save a few more review tools for stuff, but let's talk about.
Actually, I got one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Daniel Grom's got it. How do I know, dude?
A million tools this guy's got.
These are PDR shorts. Metal Militia makes some great shorts with a side pocket for your cell phone, and they're my new favorite shorts for dent guys.
What's it called?
Metal Militia.
How you spell it? Militia.
Metal. I don't know. I'm a dent guy. I can't spell.
I don't know.
Brand Metal Militia.
Now hold on. I got. Speak. I'm gonna bring up something too that I've been talking about. As far as clothing, Metal Militia. Now, would you say that these pants are they kind of heavy? Are they light?
No, they're just regular cotton shorts. The thing is they got a nice side pocket that will hold iPhone 6 Plus, or your Galaxy 7 or whatever, your bigger iPhones or phones, and it's on the side, so when you're driving, when you're driving, you can still get to your phone when it rings.
Yeah, you need to get. Where's your watch at, man?
Yeah, but sometimes you need to pull the phone out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's true. That's true. And now I trained Anthony recently. Really smart young guy. That guy knows math like you wouldn't believe. He's not like a typical dent guy. He's going to be. He's one of those smart guys. Okay. Anyways, he figures numbers and stuff like that. But he works in Florida. He's actually works for another company, another major company, and he paints right now. And so he wanted to do the PDR thing, but I'm getting to my point is that it's obviously, you guys know, it's very, very hot and humid in Florida. And I go, dude, how do you cope with the heat? You know, how do you do that? He's like, well, Mike, what I do is I get these Under Armour compression shirts, these cool compression shirts. And he goes, I put that underneath my shirt and I sweat. He goes, Mike, I sweat like crazy. But what happens is that these soak up the sweat and it cools his body off. It doesn't let it run down like if you're wearing a cool shirt and you have got gaps in your shirt and then you're starting to sweat down your belly and you feel it. Well, he says these shirts are actually absorbent and they actually help cool you off and you stay cooler longer. So you can get them in long sleeves or like a regular t-shirt size. And he said the important thing is you got to make sure it's fitted on you very tight. So you don't want it to be loose, otherwise it defeats its purpose. So if you guys are out there working in those hot, humid areas and you're sweating a lot and maybe you want to pick up some of those Under Armour compression
That sounds
tools.
more like a tech tip, man. That's a tech tip.
Yeah, hey man, I can't handle them tight shirts though. Ones that make me feel like a Tootsie Roll walking around all day.
Well, I got one on right now. I tried it. I ordered it from Amazon.
Did
and
you?
I have to say, I don't feel that bad, man. It feels
Like
actually
after
good.
a while,
Actually,
you get used to it.
my wife, I tried it on. My wife goes, man, it looks like you got a girdle on. I think you like
A girdle?
Yes.
What the heck is a girdle?
No,
You just took my manhood
No,
down a little bit there, Mike, by saying girdle.
I actually look like a sausage, actually. So, but anyways, hey, it works. It's comfortable. It's not like if a shirt's so tight it makes me have to go to the bathroom, then it's not for me. So.
Hey, just speaking of that, Mike, I wanted to read a review here that I actually just noticed. We got 21 5-star reviews now on our podcast here. And any of you guys out there who would love to drop us a line, please leave your name. We'd love to, talk about your review here on Dent Trainer, or here on PDR Tool Time. So
yeah.
I'm so used. I was actually reading it. This guy says, between signing on with Dent Trainer and listening to you guys every week, I feel I have become much better lately at my training. Still a newbie here, but you guys help tremendously. I hope someday that I can give back like you guys are doing. Keep up the fantastic work, guys. Pete La Rosa.
Awesome. Thanks, Pete.
I always preach PDRs like mixed martial arts. You have to know how to be a black belt in all categories. At Dent Trainer, you can improve your skills no matter what skill level you are as a PDR technician. We have all the latest video tutorials that are described in extreme detail with diagrams and clear explanations. Let's say you're a route tech and you want to branch out into the hail. First thing you'll want to know is how to write a proper estimate. Or perhaps you're curious about the line board and want to become better at reading that particular reflection. Or maybe what's up with the new cold glue? We have it at Dent Trainer. Check it out. Memberships start as low as $59 per month. And right now, you can sign up for 6 months for only $179. Become a Dent Trainer member. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, we were talking earlier off air before we got on here about maybe we can help these guys out with some reviews on, like, when you get a review or when you get a bad review or not such a a good review, what do you do about it? I mean, how do you handle it? Do you sit there and kind of make them feel worse, or you try to be right, shall I say? How do you handle that?
Well, the first thing is you check to see if they've written a bunch of other reviews. If they haven't, it'll fall off automatically.
Yeah, you're referring to Yelp, you mean, right?
Yeah, I'm referring to Yelp.
Okay.
But sometimes it's good to ignore it, but most of the time I answer my reviews. Yeah, and that's what the protocol or what they want you to do. They want you to answer all your reviews with either just a simple thank you or a rebuttal of some sort. But if you're going to do a rebuttal, you got to be smart, intelligent,
You do.
You can't be all emotional about it.
I'll be honest with you, I don't reply to anybody's reviews unless it's somewhat a negative review, or it is a negative review. I think that's what matters the most to me personally. I mean, and if I do say thank you, I do send a personal text to them too as well to say thank you, because I just don't want. It's just easier for me to say, okay, great, leave it alone. But I recently had one. John, you have a story too, I think. You want to go first on yours? So go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go. It's kind of interesting because it's like not super bad, but it's enough to just kind of annoy you. So we had this kid that came in, it was probably a couple weeks ago, and he came in with one of them, it was a decent car, but the whole thing had been repainted. I mean, you could tell that there was Bondo streaks and, the different panels and stuff like that. And he had a decent-sized dent in his fender. He had one in his door that had a little bit of paint missing from where the door hit it and left transfer on his panel. Had another little dent in the back. And right when he got here, I told him, I said, hey, this dent on your fender, the body line's completely crunched out. I mean, we can make it a lot better, but it's not going to be perfect. Oh, okay, great, good. Okay, so pulled it in the shop. And the funny thing is, my wife actually told me that this guy, when he called, he's only like a 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old at the most, was just a little weird when he called and all this kind of stuff. So he's waiting while the repair is being done. $375 job, might I add. Pulled it in here, looked around his car, and just decided to whip out the phone camera and do a pre-inspection video. Don't know why, it just came over me. I do that on some, not all. But when I see just a younger kid and a car that's got little damage on it here and there, I went around the whole car, documented every scratch, anything that was on the vehicle. So went through and fixed the dents, okay, and fixed a dent on his door. And I actually called him out and said, hey, I can try to buff this scuff, but I can't guarantee that it's going to come out completely, This kid says, okay, so buff the scuff off, and there's a little bitty chip that's underneath there. Whatever. The dent looks 1,000 times better. The door looks great. His fender came out really, really good. A dent in his rear quarter panel came out really good. And anyhow, kid comes out happy, ecstatic, all right, pays me his money and, whips out cash, has a bank envelope right there, pays me on it, leaves. About an hour later, we get a call or an email. He thinks that we're some franchise or something like that, right? So we get an email that goes to my wife, and it says that we scratched his taillight, okay? So I said, okay, well, if we scratched his taillight, I want to take a look at the video to see if I documented it. Took a look at the video, hit play, and there it was. Actually, it's not a scratch, it's a crack at the top of his taillight, and it was cracked so bad that there was condensation on the inside of the whole taillight. Well, I go to look at his photo, and all the condensation had been gone or blown out. So I'm sitting here thinking, is this kid trying to get one over on me? Because he would have had to, probably take it off and blow it out with an air hose or something like that and reinstall it and then send me the photo.
Yeah.
And so long story short, I tried calling. Kid would not pick up his phone. I started texting him. He wouldn't take a text. He just kept emailing back and forth. I finally told him, I said, well, here's the video. I'm going to text it over to you. He said he couldn't read the video on the email format. It wouldn't work on his computer. So I sent it to him by a text message. So he got the video, and then finally he emails back and says, fine, if it was like that before, fine. Didn't hear anything from him. Well, about 2 days later, I get a little ding on my email, and it says somebody left a Google review for you. I go in there to read it, and it says something in the nature like had a couple dents fixed. One of them, the paint got buffed off where the chip was in the one. The paint got buffed off. And then the second one, it looks like you could still see just a little bit, And the one that I told him that wouldn't be flawless, although I'm telling you guys, it came out legit. Like any dent guy standing over my shoulder would look at this thing and say, wow, what you did to this thing is really amazing compared to what it was. I mean, it came out really legit. So the kid's just kind of piping off. Didn't say anything about the scratch that he was claiming that we did, and left a 3-star review. So there's 3 stars. And he said something like, I guess satisfaction is not in my case, or something, is not for me in my case, for John Hiley, or a Dent Magic John, because they offer satisfaction, guaranteed. Well, he never came to me with a problem other than the scratched taillight. So that's just telling me that the kid's just out there looking to pick a fight. And I'm sitting here thinking, what do I write, And I'm probably going to come to the conclusion that I write something back that states like this. Bring it back in. We'll be happy to take a look at it. And I want to see if he will come in here and talk man-to-man about it, which I know he won't. But in the customer's eyes that are reading that review, that sounds really professional. So I'm not even really thinking about him at this time.
That's
because
good.
he already tried to get one over on us.
Well, that's the point, John, is that you have to look outside your own shoes, basically. You have to look out
Right.
and act like you're a customer that wants to perhaps choose you
Right.
to use their services. That's how you always got to respond.
And thank God this kid didn't leave a 1-star review. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They don't get that means something. I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, that's just, you're going to get, and it doesn't matter what company you are, you're going to end up getting one of those, unfortunately, prick customers.
So
you should change your satisfaction guaranteed to satisfaction guaranteed or your dent back.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you come to the question, like, should I reach out to him? Should I text him? But then you feel something that, like, well, what if he went over on Yelp? And what if he went over on Facebook? So you got some, how it was when you were a kid. You're 16, 17 years old. You're freaking bouncing off the wall, thinking about girls all day long. Then you're angry, and then you want to fight, and then you're drinking, and then you're thinking about girls again.
Right.
Do you really want to make one of them people more unstable than what they currently are?
Yeah.
Do I reach out to him and make this dude more unstable? It was only a 3-star review. I say I'm just going to write a kind rebuttal that says, bring it back and we'll fix you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just shows you intent that, like, you really are and care about your business. You really want it to work. And you give them, hey, you try not, but the most important thing is when you write a review back is you try not to make the customer feel more belittled than they already are, because that's what they're basically complaining about, is that you made them feel stupid. So I mean, not intentionally, John. You protect yourself. You know what I mean? So he's angry by writing that 3-star review.
And it could be that I can't remember. It was a 475 or 375. I could look back, but it was something in the either 375 or 475 was the repair cost. And I hate to say it, but it did take me about an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. So, I mean, he could be a little, how young kids are. They gauge everything by time. Oh, look how long that took them. Look how long that took them.
Yeah. Well,
and that's another thing. And in this industry, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm gonna tell you guys something. When you're out there working in the field, you can never gauge it by time, because the longer you do this, the better you get, the faster you get. Why would you want to make less money for more work as time goes on? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to share one with what happened to me. I got a 3-star review too the other day. It sounded like he could have given it to me worse, but I mean, it's a woman. I'm sorry, it's a woman. My tech shows up. I'm not going to go through the whole long spiel about it. I'm going to kind of just rebuttal what she said, and you guys can go check my own Yelp review. It's one of the latest ones. But anyways, she writes a 3-star review. She complains that John, my tech, pulled up, parked in the middle of her driveway, and didn't park to the left or right or not at all on the driveway. That was her first thing. She said, what kind of person parks in the middle of someone's driveway and just leaves right there and works on a car? And so she was upset about that. The second thing is, I'm going to read this to you guys, like word for word. She says, the cost is too high. The job equals $130. The tech spent less than 5 minutes tapping out a dent. Literally, other 2 estimates were about the same. Next time, I'm going to shop around more, be patient with waiting for an appointment time, and negotiate estimate after tech looks at the job in person. So she gives me a 3-star. She gives me a 3-star review. Okay. Then my rebuttal was, well, we appreciate the feedback and apologize for the parking matter. I will definitely make sure we are more considerate in the future. In addition, it's our commitment to ensure the most convenient and high-quality repairs. Our number one priority is to perform the job right. It's quite often, with our PDR techs, speed comes with high experience, and that is why it might have seemed very fast. Thank you for your review and your valued input. So
there you go.
You can also send her an itemized list of that dent removal. So advertising costs, travel time, gas, insurance, vehicle payment.
Yeah. Again, making an unstable person more unstable.
And the tech tip here is, you guys, if you're going to get bad reviews, and probably most of them probably aren't your fault, and you're going to have to step back, woosah, and think about what you're going to write to them. But professionally, in a way where they're not going to get any more upset. And also you got to think outside the box how the customer is going to your potential customer, your next one, because they do read the bad reviews. Customers, oh, I read your reviews. Oh, I did read some of those bad ones. Man, those guys are pricks, and you can tell because of your reaction how you answered the customer using you, and they actually thought about how, and they thought about commenting and let you know what they thought about those reviews. So
yeah. I don't think all bad reviews are bad. Honestly, I think I had 52 5-star reviews, and people kept on asking me, "How do you pay for those reviews?" They didn't believe they were all real,
right?
And so I kind of welcomed some bad reviews, so it balanced it out a little bit. And people won't look at the great reviews, and they won't look at the bottom reviews. They tend to go for the middle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we I think we got a few.
I'll tell you what I always do. I encourage you guys to do this if you ever want a good laugh. Every time I'm searching for a hotel in the city, the first thing you do is, of course, check all the reviews on the hotels, and stuff like that. Well, I also like to go down to the bottom of the page and see what the worst hotel is in the city and read the reviews. I am telling you, it is hilarious. Some of the reviews that are written on bad hotels, like right in your city. Or we just went to Cleveland, and boom, that's right. We watched the Cavaliers take it in Cleveland, and it was hilarious. Some hotels that they had in Cleveland, and the bad reviews were almost almost laughing so hard that I couldn't breathe at some of these reviews.
John, you can for anybody who has that has so reviews, you can almost call them directly and say, "Hey, is there any way I can get a better discount or not? Whatever." I mean, I can write a really good review if I have a good experience. I know that sucks, dude, because I had customers say that, but most of them are willing to help you out because they want to raise their review, average. So, anyways, I think we're going pretty long. I already gave a couple tech tips, so that was.
Yeah, you know what? I think that whole review thing right there, and was a great tech tip for everybody out there. Just to learn how to handle that, because that's the worst situation that we ever want to be on. It kind of sucks. But hopefully you don't get any one of them dreaded 1-star reviews. And this is new for me. This is like one of my first ones that I've ever got lower than 5 stars, other than other dent guys. For some reason, if you go to my Facebook page, I got these guys from Brazil and Italy leaving 2-star reviews and just bouncing out. Yeah. And I'm sitting there like yelling at them saying, "What the heck are you guys doing just getting on my Facebook and leave?" I'm looking to see if they got a paid so I can leave a 2-star review on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Somebody from Brazil just gets on my Facebook page and leaves 2 stars and rolls out?
Yeah. I know. I know. It's just people can be just pricks sometimes. I mean, here's the deal, you guys. If you guys know how to respond back to somebody, ask somebody, hire somebody to write it for you.
Don't get emotional.
Don't get emotional. You're right. It's the worst thing to do. And then try to make them feel like crap because the other customer doesn't know that story. They're always gonna feel like they're gonna take the side of the customer first because they're the customer as well. So, anyhow, guys. We are out of here, and we are just gonna. Hold on a second, John. Keep doing. Give you a little. You got to know inspiration, man. You got to know inspiration.
Oh yeah, you know what, man? Dude,
not a long one, just inspiration.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's all I've been talking about lately is inspiration stuff. So we just did a podcast earlier today, the new podcast that I'm talking about releasing on Dent Trainer, and our big subject today was, that an ounce of action is worth a ton of theory. And when you get out there, I mean, don't overthink anything. Don't tell the world what you're going to do. Show up and show the world what you're going to do. And I'm going to end it with a little Kid Rock quote from one of his songs, okay? Because this little Kid Rock quote plays in my head all the time. And it's people are always talking about what they're going to do, and maybe their face needs to meet my shoe. Okay, so basically he's saying if you're just a talker, you need to be kicked in the face.
Hey,
so that's it.
That's some good stuff, dude. That's good some stuff. Hey, we are out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. I say that too much to tell my videos. Thanks for listening, guys.
Love you long time.